Well, happy Friday, everyone. We've made it to the end of the week, and next time that I need to work with reading with you in school, I will be there too. And that means for those of you at home, you'll hear your classmates in the background. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad, but hopefully it'll make it more interesting. Okay, so today we are working with our media techniques. So what we're working with, what we're going to learn about is how media techniques are actually part of helping us better understand what we read and what we listen to. And before we get into our media techniques, I want to talk about vocabulary some more. So here we have some of our critical vocabulary that we've been practicing. And some of these are familiar to you and others aren't. So what I'm going to do is read the word, then I'm going to read it again, and that means you're going to read it with me, even though I can't hear you do it. I'm going to read the definition, and then we are going to read the sentence together. Are we ready? Here we go. Word number 1 is relish. Okay, you say relish. If you relish something, you enjoy it very much. Okay, together. My dad and I relish our annual camping trip. Number 2 is familiar. You say it. Familiar. Something familiar is something that you know and are used to. Together, his face is familiar, although his name escapes me. Sounds like a problem I have. I can't remember names either. Okay, moving on to word number 3. The word is savor. You say it. Savor. If you savor something, you take your time enjoying it. Okay, together. You must thoroughly chew your food in order to fully savor it. Number 4, enhance. You say it, enhance. If you enhance something, you made it into something better or improved upon it. Together, his appearance on TV last week served to enhance his popularity. Okay, that looks like the words that we're using for today. Okay, so now we're going to work with some words that have multiple meanings. So multiple meaning words are words that are spelled the same but have more than one meaning. For instance, the word bark refers to the sound a dog makes, but it can also refer to the outer skin of a tree. The best way to tell which meaning is correct is by looking at the context or the surrounding words and sentences. Context clues help you figure out the meaning of an unfamiliar or multiple meaning word. In the sentence, the dog's bark hurt my ears, there's little doubt that bark refers to the sound a dog makes. So here we have a couple of examples. Now, in our first 2 examples, we have the word range. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out what range means in each of these sentences. We could see a herd of cattle grazing on the range. Okay, what does range mean in this sentence? Pause the video for discussion. Okay, number 2, there's an electric range in the school cafeteria. Again, pause the video for discussion. Okay, moving on to our next word. It's racket. Shh, don't make such a racket. Pause the video to discuss what it means. And number 4, I should get a new tennis racket before the tournament. What does racket mean in that sentence? Pause the video. Okay, so if you have the time, there are 3 more words that you could work together in groups and try to come up with sentences for. These would be multiple meaning words too. The first word would be watch. The second word is foot. The third word is stamp. I'm going to say that again. Somebody please write these on the board, and then you can work on them in groups to come up with other sentences, 2 sentences for each word, or if you don't have time, just move on. So the words would be watch, foot, and stamp. Okay, so now we're moving on to our anchor chart for today. This is our reading strategy. I know the book that you had this time was actually a video, and I hope you enjoyed that. But as we look through our chart, I want you to think about some things. Okay, so there are different techniques or media elements that you are going to incur when watching a video. So when I said the word technique, it refers to a method or a skill that a person uses when producing media, such as videos. I want you to identify the media techniques in the video animal senses. I want you to think about the sounds and the visual elements, the live action, and the narration by the expert. Okay, so let's think about this and let's go through this chart before we watch the video one last time. So we see in the middle, it says media techniques. Authors use media to inform, entertain, and persuade viewers. Media techniques are the ways a topic, idea, or other information is presented. And on this poster, it shows us 5 different ways. So there are sound elements like music, sound effects, or narration. There are the experts, which are the people who are knowledgeable about their topic, discussing their thoughts and ideas. Then there is the live action scenes of the events with characters, people, or objects that can be real or imagined. Down on the bottom, we have the visual elements. They're brightly colored graphics and text that catch the viewer's attention. And the last part is animation, illustrated characters or objects in motion. Okay, so I want you to continue to think about media techniques. Media is the means of communication through radio, newspapers, television, magazines, and the internet. Media techniques are the methods through which information is communicated. Media techniques include sound and visual elements, live action, animation, and information. So as you watch that video, you've seen many of those things. So these are the things I want you to think about. Like I said, I'll play this video one last time, and I want you to think about this. How does the video help you understand more about the animal's sense of hearing? How does the video help you understand more about the animal's sense of touch? And how is the video helpful in understanding more about the animal's sounds? Okay, so I've got to find the video and then we will get started on answering those questions. There it is.
What are the 5 senses? Come on, everybody. Excellent. That's right. We know the senses because, like our friends and fellow primates, the monkeys, we possess them ourselves. Are senses important? Oh, yes. But many of us often think of senses too simplistically, as merely the ways and means to enjoy life thoroughly. Without giving it a second thought, we relish the sight of a prospective mate showing off his or her best qualities. We all enjoy hearing the sound of a good singing voice, or hearing the familiar sound of a friend calling our name. Who doesn't savor the delicious smell of a favorite food? Or, when we too were infants, the sweet scent of mother's milk. And taste? That's got to be a favorite sense of everybody's. It's one thing to smell that yummy morsel, but another to chew it. then to savor it on our taste buds before swallowing. And touch? Who doesn't like the comforting touch of a friend or family member? In the animal world, the senses are far more than just the means to enhance pleasurable experiences. It's through the senses that animals survive. There are two main strategies of staying alive. Does anybody know what they are? Find food, avoid enemies. Find food and avoid enemies. Got it now? After those two essentials have been attended to, well, there's time for having a family. Exploring the world. And playing with friends. Or just thinking deeply about the complexity of the universe. In regards to the senses, nature is the great compensator. Depending on where an animal lives and what it eats. Take, for example, this magnificent black rhino. He has very poor eyesight. Does that put him at risk for predators? Heck no. Just look at him. He has no natural enemies except, unfortunately, man. The rhino is an herbivore, or plant eater. So he doesn't have to have good eyesight to hunt prey. He just sniffs out his meals. Rhinos also have terrific hearing. Take a look at those ever-alert ears. In fact, knowing which sense or senses in an animal are the strongest or the most highly developed will tell you a great deal about how the animal lives and survives. Take a look at this rabbit. And this reindeer. And this horse. Notice any similarities? Animals that are preyed upon have eyes placed laterally in their skulls, so they can see almost 360 degrees without moving their heads. Prey animals, or those animals high on a predator's meal ticket, don't have very strong binocular vision, so they don't have very good depth perception. But they don't need it. Their eyes are designed to notice movement anywhere around them, so that they can flee at the slightest hint that there might be a predator lurking nearby. Predators, like these big cats, have more forward-facing eyes, which gives them the ability to pick out the details in a landscape. A useful feature when stalking and chasing prey. So, between prey and predator, who has the distinct advantage in terms of the sense of sight? The slam dunk winner in the best eyesight contest is the predator. Birds of prey, to be precise.
Okay, last time you have to watch that. Oh, I'm going to ask you the questions. After each question, I want you to pause the video and discuss. So the first question I asked you earlier, how does the video help you understand more about the animal's sense of hearing? Okay, pause and discuss. Okay, so the video shows how ears are arranged differently on different animals to help them hear sounds. Question number 2, how does the video help you understand more about the animal's sense of touch? Pause the video and discuss. Okay, it shows how some animals use their fingers to do different things, such as hanging onto a tree or exploring nature. Question number 3. How is the video helpful in understanding more about the animal's sounds? Pause the video. Okay, so it helps us to hear the examples of what the animals actually sound like and the different kind of sounds that they make. Okay, so now we're moving to pages 130 and 131 in your my book. Oops, I went too far. Okay, and you're going to write a description of something today. So listen to the prompt. In Animal Senses, you saw and heard interesting information about animals, such as how they use their sense of sight to catch food and to avoid being prey for another animal. Now imagine that Animal Senses will be shown on a television station, and it's going to be your job to describe it for viewers so that they will want to watch it. Use some of the critical vocabulary words in your discussion, and you need to have a plan. Let's see. Do we have the? Nope, they don't list the vocabulary words, but those are a few pages back. Here's your plan. You're going to make notes about central ideas and important details that you saw and heard about animal senses. Make sure to include the most interesting information that you learned. So you have to do the plan first. I don't know what it looks like in your book, but this is what it looks like as a digital version. And then once you have your plan taken care of, then you're going to write. So it says, now write your television guide description of animal senses in the space below. Make sure your description has these things. You have to name the video. What's the name of the video? It's right here, Animal Senses. And your description has to be organized into clearly, it must be organized and it must clearly explain your ideas. It needs to describe the main points of the video. It needs to tell why the viewer should watch your video, and you must have a concluding sentence. So I want you to think about this. Think about your collaborative discussion that you had on the page before. It actually says collaborative discussion. You had to do this yesterday. And you had to answer the questions like, how do the animals use their senses? For example, they use their senses in different ways to survive. They use their sense of sight, their sense of hearing, the sense of smell to find food and prey, and they use their sense of touch to find their way around their habitats. Okay, so think about number 2 now. What does narrator mean by the nature is the great compensator? The narrator means that nature will compensate, or in other words, make up for one sense that isn't strong. For example, a rhinoceros does not have good eyesight, but it isn't necessary because the rhino doesn't have any natural predators. And then the last one, what can you learn about the animal's life from observing where its eyes are placed? You can tell that if an animal is a predator or if an animal is prey, its eyes will either be in the front of its head as a predator or it will be on the sides of its head as prey. So those are some important details you can also use. So again, you're going to make your plan, and then you are going to organize your thoughts and create a television guide description of animal senses. Make certain you name the video, you organize and explain your ideas, describe the main points, tell the readers why they should watch the video, and end with a concluding sentence. Have fun with this. And then when you're finished, if you have time, some of you should share your creations with your classmates. Have a great weekend. Bye.